haven't done a video in a while. Part of the reason is I am embarking upon an exciting new journey, opening a series of medical centers in Canada, so it's taking up a lot of my time. What I wanted to discuss in this particular video was the concept of the cyclical nature of the expansion of consciousness, and really when we're going through these different cycles, getting back to basics. So I think in everyone's own expansion and contraction and expansion and contraction, we find inevitably times where we tend to doubt our own compass. We are not sure the direction that we want to go. And because life is on this linear timeline, it can cause us to question whether we are on the right track or not. And in these periods, for myself especially, I always tend to start with the basics and ask myself the deep questions about who I want to be, because often in this world, we can be doing so much in terms of what we think others want us to be, or showing up for our friend groups, our families, groups at work, and we can lose ourselves in this kind of undertow of life. And one of the things that I've been doing a lot lately is just getting back to the fundamentals of who I am and what makes me tick, and asking myself, the really deep questions about what are the aspects of creating my own reality which bring me the most happiness. Because again, I find personally, when I start to lose track or lose sight of what I want to create, it's often when I'm not looking at my own personal journey of what makes me happy. And it's going to be different for each and every individual, but for me, it's highly, my happiness is attached to purposeful living. So when I feel like I'm really organized, when I'm on track, when I'm accomplishing a lot of things, I feel very grounded and happy. When I see myself slipping, away from that is when, again, I'm trying to fit into the crowd. And that's when I tend to lose myself, when I try to be something that I'm not. And I think this is something, again, that individuals along their life path and track deal with, at various points in time. Sometimes we have those identity crises, in our early 20s when we're trying to figure out, what do we want to do with our lives? And you can go through those stages when, you're in middle adulthood, when you're raising children, or, growing within your career, when you question, is this really what I want to accomplish with my life? Am I happy? Am I, fulfilling the dreams that I came here to fulfill? And then, yet there's still that other stage in life where we kind of deem it the midlife crisis, when a lot of the life is behind you and you feel like time is slipping away in terms of creating those goals and dreams for yourself. And I think at every juncture, it's really important to ask yourself those questions about what truly makes you happy. Are you the happiest when you're peaceful, when you're not in large crowds? Are you happier when you're around a bunch of people? Do you like a lot of dialogue? Do you like a lot of conversing? Or are you in the most bliss and peacefulness when you're kind of in solitude and in silence? Are you somebody that loves or needs the television on all the time, or a lot of chaos and entertainment? Or are you a more quiet person? And those are the things that, as you journey along, you have to really come to terms with. But coming to terms with it means creating augmented happiness, because you're actually feeding yourself, feeding your soul, instead of trying to be like everybody else. And it is a journey. It's something certainly that unfolds as we age, hopefully, with a little bit more ease. And again, with these fundamentals, when we start to feel a certain amount of chaos creeping into our existence. Now, a certain amount of chaos is actually good. It helps to kind of light a fire under us and, propel us in a different direction. So I certainly don't believe that chaos and change and transformation are bad by any means. Those periods of your life that tend to squeeze you, or put pressure on you, can actually really transform you in positive ways and build your character. But in terms of really creating that infrastructure and that foundation for a beautiful life, you do have to start with the basics. What are the things, what are the habits that you are creating every day to create health in your life? Exercising a few times a day, getting out into sunshine, walking, making sure that your home and your life and just everything that you're interacting with is really, really organized. I know that I tend to feel on edge or more irritable when my life isn't organized. And with it being springtime here in Canada, I've been spring cleaning, getting rid of things that are cluttering my space, and just really getting back to basics. And once that space is clear and clean, then I kind of go to the next phase, which is asking myself those deep questions. What are the things that I really want to create, in the next 2 to 5 to 10 years, to make sure that I'm creating that paramount unfoldment of that happy life story for myself. And again, that causes you and will propel you to ask those really deep internal questions. And sometimes we don't know the answers, sometimes it's just starting out with the questioning. And from there, it's a lot of journaling, mind mapping, trial and error, really trying to figure out what is resonating with our soul, and giving yourself the permission and space. The other thing I find, especially with myself, is that because I live such a chaotic, high stress in a certain way, a lot of output in my days, I don't often give myself the space for rest. And as of late, I've been relaxing a little bit more. And again, really turning that page, going back to the fundamentals, going back to the basics. And I think part of that is giving yourself the permission within certain stages of your life to just be still, to relax, to allow the answers to propagate naturally, instead of trying to force an answer because it fits your timeline. Because a lot of times those divine answers aren't going to come immediately. It's almost like the universe is requesting that you slow down and stop and enjoy the view a little bit before the next journey starts. So again, this is going to be a really long video today, but hopefully that helps some of you that are dealing with that next phase or transition that you're going through. If you're just taking a moment to rest and evaluate, the beautiful soul that you are, and wishing you a beautiful week.